Today is Friday, January 27th, 2022, and this is the Friday Top 5, where I feature 5 things that I thought were interesting and notable across culture, music, basically just stuff that I like. Before jumping in the show today, I want to remind you that we are now on YouTube at Dailey Blend. We're also on Instagram and Twitter at Dailey Blend. You can follow, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platforms such as Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Spotify. And with all that out of the way, let's jump into the show. So the first story I want to talk about is one of my favorite people on the internet, Jeff Staple. He teamed up with LG, the electronics company, and put together a very progressive, modern household. It was a creator's room at the CES. So CES is the annual Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. It was a couple weeks ago. The video on YouTube, I think, is roughly 2 minutes, and it shows all this great product from LG, from fridge with mood up to LG stylers to shoe cases and shoe care that I will be absolutely trying to purchase as soon as it goes on sale for retail at a reasonable price, I will say. Art Cool, gallery air conditioners, wash towers, compact Puri Care, and Aero Furniture. Those are just the LG products. Essentially, if I was going to distill it, it was LG working or partnering with Jeff Staple to show an apartment or condo, however you want to think about it, in New York, with all this cool LG tech, obviously skewed towards Jeff Staple's design and curation aesthetic, which you would argue is a tastemaker from New York in the streetwear and sort of streetwear industry. Go watch the video. If you don't know Jeff Staple, he rose to fame because of the Pigeon Dunk, but has since done more collaborations than I can keep up with. Had a store called Reed Space, coincidentally, down in the East Village, I think it was, or Lower East Side years ago, and continues to own his own design studio and clothing brand. So Jeff's a really cool guy to follow. Highly recommend it. All right, moving to story number 2, we're going to talk about Monday drinking. And you're probably like, hey, Monday's like the one day I don't drink. And now you can, thanks to Drink Monday. And it's at drinkmonday.com, and that is their Instagram. They are a alcohol-free beverage. The quote from them is pretty interesting. A cultural shift is underway, a mindset towards self-care, staying sharp, and living life without compromise. This is not a trend. This is a movement that refuses to choose between good health and good taste. Crafted with care from natural ingredients at our Southern California distillery, Monday's non-alcoholic spirits are a labor of love, our way of helping alcoholics, avoiders like us, enjoy a proper adult beverage. Come check you out. So they've got a bunch of different products, but what I thought was more interesting on this brand is they have kits. So the 3 ones that I was most interested in is their Mezcal kit. They've got a whiskey kit, and they've got a gin kit. And, usually it's just the RTD drink, but this was much more of we provide the cocktail and the spirits and a couple of the added ingredients. I'm going to try them out. I haven't ordered it yet, but it's on the list of things to do tomorrow morning, and I will let you know what I think about it on the show. All right, we're going to go from non-alcoholic to alcohol. Our buddies down in Atlanta are launching a new product. If you didn't know or hadn't seen the show, we interviewed the founders from Tip Top Cocktails a couple years ago, and they are putting out a new limited edition Welcome to the Jungle, which is their Jungle Bird rum with lime, pineapple, and red bitters. If you know, you know. Treasure came to notoriety in the early 70s as a Kulua Lepore Hotel Swanky welcome cocktails. Lighthearted rum punch vibes are balanced by red bitters, a glamorous combo that is ready to party. This was the quote from them. Go to their website, go to their Instagram. This drink looks fantastic. I don't exactly know why you would launch it in the middle of winter. But hey, I'm going to probably buy some just because I buy all of their cocktails and I always enjoy them. And I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one as much as the originals, and more recently their espresso martini that was really, really darn good. Okay, now we're going to go from talking about non-alcoholic alcoholic cocktail drinks to my other podcast about Negronis. So ChatGPT is optimizing language models for dialogue. If you haven't heard about it, are you living under a rock? Anyway, ChatGPT, in the event you did, ChatGPT, the company says we trained the model. It interacts in a conversation way. So you basically prompt it with questions like, write me this, tell me that. And so I said, ChatGPT, write me a Instagram post that talks about my ready-to-drink Negroni, since we did the latest episode of Negronis with Greg, and we had a ready-to-drink drink. And write me a post on that, including hashtags. And the quote, or the Instagram post it wrote was very, very interesting. It says, raise a glass to the weekend with our delicious ready-to-drink Negroni. Perfectly balanced with a bold and bitter taste. It's the perfect way to unwind after a long week. Cheers, and then a bunch of hashtags. So, I mean, that was probably as good, if not better, than the caption that I would have written on Instagram. And I am, as my two teammates or interviewers, or what do you call it, guests or co-hosts? Yeah, co-host and guest. So Greg's a co-host and Marie was the guest. I am behind releasing Negronis with Greg episodes. You will see one come across on either this weekend or Monday. So sorry for the delay. We are now over 100 fans on Instagram. So go check us out at Negronis with Greg on Instagram. And enjoy learning about Matt Hurenick's Negronis book, because that's what we're walking through. All right. Keeping up with tradition, the last story of the Friday Top 5 is about sneakers. This one is very interesting to me. So Nike is putting a lawsuit against Bape. So if you're less familiar, Bape, or a bathing ape, is a company originally founded out of Japan by a gentleman named Nigo. He then partnered with Pharrell and created the Billionaire Boys Club and ice creams. He has since exited or sold the brand, but I still enjoy it. And I've purchased a few pairs of Bapes over the years. They really do, in my opinion, look a lot like Nikes. And Nike is coming after them after they've gone after John Iger and a few others, basically saying that all of their shoes, or not all of them, but most of their shoes are copies of their famous designs. So the examples they're saying is the Bapesta is similar to the Air Force One Low. The Bapester Mid is similar to the Air Force Mid. The Skate is similar to the Dunk Low. And the Court Sty is similar to the Air Jordan 1 High. So if you go to daileyblend.com and look for this show, I have put the copyright, or sorry, the copy or trademark infringement image. It's pretty straightforward when you look at it. So if you're like me, you like the Bapes. They're a little more expensive than the Nikes, almost double, maybe even triple. I'm gonna buy a pair before they no longer can make them. Or make them in the U.S., I should say. So go read up on it. It's interesting to see that Nike basically allowed this for 20 years and now is coming after them. I wonder why now and not 20 years ago. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't blame anyone. All right, that wraps up this week's show. It was very short, to the point, very sweet. I'm heading out to watch some buddy of mine play hockey tonight, dads versus coaches, so I'm pretty fired up about that. Definitely going to have a Negroni in hand. I suggest you do too. And with that said, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to the show, and download it, enjoy it on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll catch you next week on the Weekly Rundown. Thanks for tuning in.